Hello, everyone. Just gonna get some things lined up since we just opened up. Okay, we won't be live streaming on Facebook today because Facebook is having problems, but that's okay because you're here. So while we're just waiting for people to show up, I would always like to know where you're tuning in from. And the question of the day is, have you ever been to Alaska over the winter solstice, since it is the winter solstice? Just to let you know, Homer, Alaska only gets about 6 hours of daylight today, so it's pretty dark. I've not been to Alaska during the winter. I've only been there during the summer. So curious to know if anyone else has been in almost total darkness during the winter. We'll just wait a couple minutes for people to arrive. Only in the summer as well, Gwen. Yep. Well, daylight there, I think in the summertime is like 16 hours. So it's a little trippy when you're used to going to bed when it gets dark. Let me see if I can live stream on Facebook again. I think we're having technical difficulties on that side. Yeah, if you're just joining us in the room, we're waiting another minute or so. Let me know if you want where you're tuning in from. And oh, nice, you went in the summer too, Nancy. And if you've ever been to Alaska during the winter solstice, where it's incredibly dark for most of the day. So, all right, let me see if I can stream. Nope. All right, so no live stream today from Facebook, but here we are all together. So. Well, I'll say that I'm Kat, if you don't know me, and I'm tuning in from not the US. I'm someplace tropical, so the opposite of darkness. It's a lot of daylight and heat here. So happy to be though here with my Alaskan friends. Been to Alaska in the summer. Yeah, I don't know if anyone goes to Alaska for winter tourism. I think it's a pretty dark and chilly time, but I'm sure there's a reason to go. All right, Myra and Elise, hello from Jersey, another Jersey person. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started since we're 3 minutes after the hour. Oh, nice. You used to live in Anchorage. Very cool. I wish I had better photography skills because there's so many beautiful things to take pictures of in Alaska, and my phone just does not capture it. So, all right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I'm Kat. I'm part of the Wild Alaskan Company recipe team. And if you have joined us for a live event before, I'm usually tuning in from Brooklyn, New York. Today, I'm currently traveling someplace very tropical, so I cannot get Alaskan fish here, and I am missing it very much, especially the salmon. So I'm excited to be joined today by my special co-host, Sanana. She's going to be the chef of the day. She'll be showing you a really essential recipe, I think, for any seafood lover, fish cakes. Perhaps you've made them before, perhaps you've not, but they're, I think, one of the, if you know any recipe, this is the one to know. So before we get to that, just some housekeeping. What I will ask you to do if you want is you can follow along with the captions. You can do that at the bottom of your screen. There should be a button that says more or captions, and then you can access that if that helps you follow along. If at any point you have questions during the event, I'll ask you to drop those into the Q&A button. There aren't that many of us here, so if you drop it in the chat, we'll see it as well. We're not live streaming from Facebook today, so you will not be able to see this immediately after. Well, May say first. If you need to leave before today's event, we'll send over a link in the next day. We usually are live streaming on Facebook, so you can see it thereafter, but you can expect it in your email. So let's see. Let me see if I've covered everything housekeeping wise. Yes, there is some background noise. I am in a co-working space. I'm so sorry about that, everyone. But we'll get to Sanana where it's nice and quiet after. So we're joined today by Gwen, one of our teammates from the member experience team. If she wants to come onto camera to say hello. Hi, Gwen. She and I will be here to help answer some of your questions today, as well as Sanana. So what we are making today is easy baked fish cakes. You can use any species of cooked fish for this. It's great for leftovers, overcooked fillets, anything where you haven't finished the meal for whatever reason, that can go into a fish cake. You can bake them, pan fry them, or air fry them. Today we're baking them because it's just a really, really easy way to prepare them. A lot of them at once, very hands off, not messy. And air frying and pan frying, they're a little bit quicker. They take maybe 10 minutes or less to make. But like I said, baking is very, very hands off. So that's one of my go-tos when I just want to make a lot of food and not put in a lot of work for it. The great thing about fish cakes is they can feed a crowd, or you can use them for meal prepping, and they're freezable afterwards. So that's a big bonus. If you just want to make a bunch, stash them in a Ziploc baggie and have it for another day. I love them because they're so easy to make and can be used in so many ways. This is why they're essential. So let me pass over to Sanana. Thank you for bearing with the background noise here. But yeah, take it away, Chef.
Thank you, Kat. Hi, everybody. I'm Sanana. I'm the Director of Member Success here at the Wild Alaskan Companies. I've probably spoken to many of you at some point in time. Welcome to my kitchen in Fort Lee, New Jersey. As Kat mentioned, today I will be making easy baked fish cakes. Easy being the key word, as it's super easy to make. And I know a lot of you have asked about using leftover fish, so this is why we're bringing this to you. I will go ahead and start with our ingredient list. As you can see here, I have 2 already cooked portions of fish. I'm using whitefish, wild caught cod, Pacific cod, which is already cooked, and they are left over. I made fish yesterday, so I have some here to use today. I have an egg, some celery finely chopped, red bell pepper also finely chopped, and red onion as well. I mixed my mayo and mustard together in one bowl. I also have chopped parsley, extra virgin olive oil mixed with some garlic. You want to mince the garlic. And then for the final ingredient, you can either use almond flour or breadcrumbs, whichever one is your preference. Either will work, either helps to bind it together, and the outcome is really delicious. So currently I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees, but I will get started here with my bowl. So in the mixing bowl, I'm going to go ahead and add my fish first. And how you want to add the fish over here is just by flaking it. You can use a fork. You can use a knife, whatever you prefer, but you can see it. I cooked it very lightly, so it is, from yesterday, and it still flakes very easily because it's so soft and moist, and it retained that moisture even though I had it in the fridge. So you want to flake the pieces as small or as large as you would like. And we can add, once they're flaked in, we can add them in the mixing bowl. And then we just want to take all of the flaked fish, put it into our mixing bowl. This recipe calls for 2 6-ounce fillets, which are already cooked as mentioned, but you can always adjust the portions as needed, or whatever you have available to you. And then I will go ahead and add our egg here that we have. It's got a nice, very nice yolk. And then I'll add the ingredients. So Kat shared the recipe where you can see exactly what the portion size is. Again, you can adjust as needed based on your preference, but that's our red onion. We have our chopped red bell pepper. That's a very nice bell pepper. And you also can chop as finely or as thick as you would like, depending on how you would like these fish cakes to have the ingredients. This is our minced garlic and olive oil mixture. And then I have our chopped parsley here. We'll go ahead and add that in. As I mentioned earlier, here's the mayo and mustard. This smells really good. And also have breadcrumbs. You can also use almond flour as mentioned. And then salt and pepper or spices are to taste. So you can add your preference of salt, pepper, or crushed red pepper, anything you like, and then you can give this all a nice mix. You can use your hands, you can use a spoon, depending on how you like to mix. I have an egg in here, so I'll start with the spoon. And then we have, just makes it really nice. If you do use almond flour for these, by the way, it will make the recipe gluten-free, which is always a nice alternative for folks that don't like to have gluten or can't have gluten. So you want to give it a really nice mixture here. And bring it all together. Super easy to make, especially once your ingredients are already chopped. So now you can either use a spoon or your hands. I will go ahead and use my hands, but you can make these fish cakes. You want to just bring it together. You can make them as small or as large as you would like, depending on your preference. If you're having, let's say, a dinner party and you want to use them as like appetizer portions, you can make them smaller like this. And then you can lay them out on your baking sheet. Again, the oven is set to 375 degrees right now. And then once you do put them in the oven, you want to place them there for about 15 to 20 minutes and then just keep an eye on it, as you want to get the texture or the brownness that you prefer. These are a little bit smaller, and then I can show you if I make a big one, they can be, put on a bun, as a sandwich. It can be tossed in a salad. And you can make them as flat or as thick as you would like. You can see all the ingredients come together really nicely with the fish. Any questions in the meantime while I'm just getting these on the baking sheet?
One question that we had was about how many fish cakes you can make with 2 fillets, but it sounds like as you've answered that, it depends on how big or small you make them. I know in my experience making fish cakes out of fillets, I usually can get 4 to 6, depending on the size that I'm working with. And I'll also say that it doesn't have to be exactly 2 portions of fish. It doesn't have to be 6 ounces each. It can be a little more or less. And I believe you just need to adjust accordingly with however many breadcrumbs or almond flour, how much of that you put into the mix. So, but the other question I have for you, Sanana, how long is fish good for in the fridge as a leftover fillet before you make these?
Yeah, of course. So I would use these, I would try to consume it within the first day or two. Once they are, in your refrigerator and you want to be able to taste freshness of it and how good it tastes. So, and you are cooking them again a little bit. So I would try to consume within the first 2 days. But once they are made into fish cakes, then you can store them for longer. And you can also freeze them, as I know you mentioned earlier.
I have another fun question. Would you recommend mixing in something like spices or herbs into the fish cakes?
Absolutely. I love doing that right now, just to show you a quick recipe and how easy it is. I use salt and pepper, but you can add in whatever spices you like. Lemon pepper goes really great. If you don't have a bunch of minced garlic already that you put in there, you could use ground garlic powder, you could use onion powder. We did add red onion chopped here, but it goes really well if you add a little bit of onion powder or crushed red pepper flakes. And again, you can also change up the vegetables a little bit if you want. Like if you don't have red bell pepper, you can use green or orange bell pepper.
Thanks. That sounds really good. I haven't tried it with onion powder, but that seems like a really easy replacement. Um, I think that's the only questions we have right now. So if you want to move on, feel free.
Yeah, sure. So again, if you're meal prepping, allow these to cool first once they come out of the oven before you start meal prepping or putting them away. I would refrigerate them in a covered container for up to 3 days. If you're freezing, carefully place it in a freezer bag. You can wrap it in plastic wrap if you'd like. And then once they're frozen, you can use them within a month for best quality. I made a few small ones here on my baking sheet, as you can see, which would be great in a salad. You can also create like a lemon or sauce of your choice. We have a bunch of recipes available on our website that also have great sauces. And then if I want to make them a little bit larger, I can use a bun or a roll. You can also just put it in between two bread slices, whatever you prefer. And then to reheat them, you can either microwave them or use a toaster oven. You can also enjoy them cold if you like, or even pan fry them slightly. But once they are ready to go, and they're out of the oven, I already have actually here, I put them in the oven earlier that I made, and this is a good size to put on a roll or a bun. And you can see it has that nice gold crisp on it from the breadcrumbs, which I really like. And we can go ahead and try it here. Mmm. That's so good. I actually have to take another bite because it's so good. Wow. Delicious. You would never know that this is fish cooked twice. And you can see how easy it was. Any other questions?
I think I see a question in the chat here. Let me just expand my window so I can see it. So once the fish cakes are frozen, should they be baked from frozen or thawed?
So you can bake them, if you can break them from frozen. You can put them directly in the oven. You can also pan fry them directly from frozen. If you are going to pan fry them, I'd recommend it when you first place it on like a high heat. And then I've done this before, and then you can lower the heat and cover it for like a few minutes, and you'll see that it gets that really nice soft texture on the inside, but it still has the crisp layer on the outside.
That sounds so easy. Another question, is there a substitute you can use for mayo instead of mayo for the fish cake? What's another good alternative?
Definitely. You can use plain yogurt or Greek yogurt, whichever one again you like. I haven't tried it with Greek yogurt. I do think that if you use Greek yogurt, it will give it a little bit of a thicker consistency than the mayo does. Plain yogurt would probably be the same consistency as mayo.
Great question. And one other question that came up, if the fish cake isn't sticking together, what is your suggestion for troubleshooting that?
Sure. So what I like to do sometimes if it's not sticking, you could keep a little bit of egg wash on the side in a bowl. So I know we added 1 egg in this bowl, but if you keep a little bit of extra raw egg on the side, you can always, dip your hands in it and bring it together that way, because the egg really helps bind it together.
All right, I think that's it for questions. Thanks for all your good questions, everyone.
Yes, thank you. And again, here's what it looks like.
They almost look like cookies to me. So.
Like crispy, yes, holiday cookies.
All right, well, I guess let's go ahead and wrap up. Thank you everyone for watching. Just before we close out, I want to give a shout out to our member special of the week. It's for king salmon. So I'll drop a link in the chat for that. King salmon, it's here for a very limited time. It's exclusive to members as always. If you're a huge king salmon fan, we also have a limited time box that features king salmon. So it's actually 12 6-ounce fillets of king salmon in one box. You will not be running out of it if you get that one, but it's super delicious. I'm sure some of you have had added king salmon to your box in the last couple of weeks since we've had the special running. But yes, we only have another maybe 6 days of it, if I remember correctly. So a link for the member special is in the chat, and then I'm also dropping a link for the limited time box. If you haven't had a limited time box before, it's a great way to just mix up what you get every month. So yes, if you're not a member, you cannot get the king salmon special or the king salmon box, but we do have a different offer for you to get you to become a member. You can use the code LIVE25. You'll get $25 off your first box of amazing fish from Wild Alaskan Company. The code for that is in the chat. And you'll get access to exclusive member specials like the one I just told you about, and be able to watch more events as we host them. So you can sign up at the Wild Alaskan Company homepage, dropping that link in the chat as well. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here. We're going to take it next week off for the holiday, so we will not be joining you for a live event, but I hope you have a really good winter solstice and celebration if you have some time off. Thanks for watching, and live wild.
Bye.